All right, we are live. All right, let me get this started. And if you're watching the video in the future, leave a like and a comment. And let me know how far in the future you're watching this video, because as long as YouTube's up, these things will be up for, like I said, as long as the app's up. All right, okay, let's get it going. You like this? Can't really see it with a light, but got some new apparel coming out soon. I don't want to say merch. I don't like the term merch. All right, let's get it started. Welcome back to the Idols to Rivals podcast. This is episode number 37. I appreciate everybody for listening or watching. If you're watching on the YouTube video, if you don't know, I record these live with audio and video at the same time, and then the videos are uploaded to YouTube afterwards. So there is an audio and video version. If you're watching on YouTube, there is a version of this recorded audio-wise on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. Spotify. So all the major networks, everything like that, and everywhere you can pretty much find a podcast, it'll be on it, as well as YouTube. So my name is Jack, at Jack Hummell on YouTube, Instagram, everything like that, all the good stuff. Twitter is at Jack Hummell with 2 M's, 2 L's in my last name, because I'm just like that, and it's always been spelled like that. So having silent vowels and in your name isn't really good for social media handles, but it works. It is what it is. But yeah, so at Jack Hummell on Instagram, YouTube. Go check them out. That's what I'm really trying to work on these days, trying to build those up, trying to just create more. And I think the last couple of videos I put out have been showing my improvement. I posted a video on Monday, and it was kind of more just ripping off the dome, just kind of talking about motivation and things like that, stuff that's really been big on my mind. And I've talked about it a couple of times on this podcast and on the YouTube channel, that this is really just a documentation rather than creating content that is kind of non-organic, I guess would be the best way to put it. I'm creating content that's real to me right now, and that's real to my life, and documenting that journey rather than creating some. I will be doing some shoots where it's like videos that you see on YouTube, like, I don't want to say challenge videos, but more orchestrated videos as opposed to vlog style. I'm working on all of that. I want to get better at just the video editing and getting on a schedule, and then once all that gets kind of buttoned up, then we can move forward with all that. But yeah, the last video was just kind of motivation. It was 2 minutes. It was really short. Most of my vlogs the past couple of weeks have been about 10 minutes to about 7 minutes long. And so just kind of mix it up. Wanted to try a different format. Wanted to see if it stuck, if it was good, if it was bad. I just also like the video because I think it came from the heart. And like I said, the whole point of documenting this stuff is kind of to be real, more than just have like a censored opinion and things like that. And just off the rip, what's going on in my mind. I think a lot of people are struggling with the same stuff that I'm struggling with right now. Just trying to figure out your footing in the age bracket of like 16, anywhere to 26 or 30, just trying to figure out your lane in this life and trying to figure out where you want to go, what you want to do, and not really comparing yourself to other people, because that's how you get distracted, get off your path, and it can really just put you in a bad spot mentally if you're always focused on what other people are doing. So yeah, that's kind of the precursor to it. Like I said, this is episode number 37. I'm super excited about it, and I think that the first episode I ever recorded, or second episode I ever recorded, I was congratulating the Kansas City Chiefs on winning the Super Bowl, and I will do the same this year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers absolutely dominated the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel bad for Patrick Mahomes because he had no offensive line, and none of his professional NFL football playing wide receivers or tight ends or running backs could catch a ball. So that's kind of a bummer. Brady wins his 7th ring, and I was kind of over it, because all we're going to hear about for the rest of forever until someone wins 8 rings is how great Tom Brady is. And I think he's gotten better over time. I haven't been the biggest fan of him growing up as a Colts fan. He was always our biggest rival with Peyton. And but seeing him all tore up, all these videos are coming out on Twitter about Tom Brady just getting absolutely demolished on the boat parade. So I think that's great. I'm starting to warm up to him a little bit more. He is obviously one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, if not the greatest. It's up for debate a little bit, just because I'm riding with Peyton forever, who got inducted in the Hall of Fame. My man, he was my idol growing up. I had like 7 jerseys of Peyton Manning. I think I still have a binder somewhere with all Colts cards. I had like 3 or 4 pages just directly related to Peyton Manning football cards. It was a good time growing up, having him kind of as your number one guy, and he gets first ballot Hall of Famer as as to be expected. But yeah, Tampa Bay rather won the Super Bowl. It was absolutely dominant. Their defense looked incredible. I didn't realize their defense was that good, but apparently last year they were ranked 5th, and then they get Gronkowski, they get Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who was a great draft pick, and then obviously Tom Brady, and it just kind of all clicked. And I thought they were going to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year, and they did. It worked out perfectly. It was either going to be Steelers, who fell apart at the end of the season, or the Chiefs, or the Bucs, or Green Bay. I think those were the top 4 teams on everybody's list, and so it was a little bit predictable, but I'm glad that it was an exciting game. It wasn't like the Rams-Patriots game a couple of years ago where it was like 13-3. That was absolutely brutal. There was a little bit of offense. I wish Patrick Mahomes would have got better, more fair shake, because of his O-line was just absolutely atrocious. They got dominated from the first whistle to the last. It was incredible, actually, what their defense was doing to him. But yeah, so that's basically what we've been up to recently. That's kind of current events. All the stuff with GameStop that I talked about, and Robinhood on the vlog for a little bit. It's been kind of going crazy. People are now investing in Dogecoin, which I put some money in because why not? If they take it to the moon like everyone's kind of joking about, I figured I might as well be on the rocket this time, because I did have a couple people make an absolute killing off the GameStop explosion, I guess, or bubble, because it's pretty much burst at this point. But I had a couple people I know in real life that made an absolute ton of money. So it's congrats to them. I heard about it too late. I was on a plane coming home from Miami, and I saw it was at like $130, and I was like, oh man, this thing's going to tank in about 5 minutes. By the time we landed, I think it was at $240. So it went $100 up a share the flight was like 45-minute flight. So it was crazy. I wish I would have got in on it. I wish I would have heard about it. But knowing me, if I would have got in, it would have tanked immediately, and I lost all my money. So I'm glad a bunch of people made a lot of money. And I'm looking for a new app rather than Robinhood, because that's what I've been using to invest the past, I think, year and a half. I've been investing with them. And I'm either going to Webull or TD Ameritrade. I have friends on both sides of the fence. I know Webull was doing a little bit of the Robinhood maneuver where they weren't allowing as many stocks to be bought or sold at certain times, like GameStop, AMC, all the stuff that you guys read about and were hearing about on Twitter or may have been involved in, which is completely illegal. And I'm kind of pissed off that they were doing that. But yeah, so like I said, TD Ameritrade or Webull, I'm kind of going back and forth. Haven't moved any money yet. And hopefully Doge goes to the moon and we all get rich and we can all buy Lambos. That'd be the easy way. And I'm all for that if that happens. But another thing I kind of wanted to talk about current events wise, just because everything's going crazy right now, was if you guys follow Barstool, and I bring them up a lot on this just because it's something I'm interested in. I think they're a powerhouse of a company. I think Dave Portnoy, he can be an asshole sometimes, but I think he is just, all great people are assholes at sometimes. Like, he just believes so strongly in what he's doing, and he has a never say die mentality. So I respect the hell out of him, and I'd love to meet him one day. I'd love to work for him one day or work with him one day. But they had this thing called Surviving Barstool. And if you ever watch Survivor, I watched Survivor growing up. Whatever night it was on, it was like a Thursday or Friday night. Me and my family would sit down and watch it every single night it was on for about, 7-8 seasons. And I come to find out that it was scripted for some of it. And so that was kind of a heartbreaker. One of those ruining your childhood moments that I found out either on Twitter or whatever it was. But it's the show where you do challenges. You're on a team, and basically, if you win a challenge for the week, you get immunity, so you can't get voted off the island. I'm sure a bunch of you have watched it. So Barstool did it in a week. They did a format where there was about 7 or 8 people, and every day they had a challenge. People got eliminated, and it was absolutely hilarious. I think it was one of their most successful series of videos I've seen in a long time. And just the reaction on Twitter was absolutely crazy. I'm not a big Twitter guy. I don't really stay up with it. I don't have a ton of followers on it. Whenever I have those moments, whenever you're like driving down the road and you're like, oh, I should tweet that. As soon as I get to where I'm at and I'm like, oh, I was going to tweet that whenever I get there, I completely forgot already what I was going to say. So I'm not a big Twitter head, but the people that I saw on it, whenever it was all going on, they were kind of live tweeting it. And they actually did a live finale where people were on live stream, and everyone that got voted off, voting for the winner, was there. And I think it was done really well. That's how they did it in the actual Survivor show, when it was on like NBC or something like that, one of the major networks. But super well done. I mean, hats off, super well done. It was hilarious. I think the personalities they have at Barstool are incredible. That's why their podcasts keep blowing up. And if you get signed by them, it's pretty much a golden ticket to a lot of success and a lot of more followers. And so I think getting a part of that organization should be a big goal for a lot of content creators. I know for me, it would be a dream come true. But still working on that. So getting through it. And yeah, super cool. If you haven't checked that out, I'm currently just watching Peaky Blinders for the second time. And then I'm giving Netflix a rest. I think I'm logging off and giving it a rest for a long time because I've been really focused on my goals. I've said it in the vlogs. If you haven't watched those, I'm working on, I split my life up into kind of like 3-month, 100-day, 90-day segments of just focusing on goals. And so I'm on chapter 6 of doing that. So I'm doing about a year and a half. The math works out, maybe 2 years. But I've been really focused on my goals. And I think my escapism, going to Netflix or going to YouTube, which is tough because you want to get ideas from YouTube. And that's kind of what my scapegoat has been like, oh, I'm getting ideas for videos and never panned it out. I spend 4 hours on YouTube watching videos that don't help me. I'll get so deep into YouTube. You watch videos you don't even want to watch. You're just like, I want to burn 10 more minutes. And so getting out of that escapism, I think, is super important. So I watched Breaking Bad for like the 5th time all the way through. And then Peaky Blinders, I'm finishing that up. And then it's just game time. It's already been a great start. We are, I believe, this is the 11th day in, making some great progress. And if you don't know, I break it down into health, wealth, love, and happiness. And so the first 3 lead to the last one, happiness. And so just health goals, like getting into the fitness level I want to get to for summer and finally having the look I want to have for summer, for if I go to the beach or if I'm moving down to one of these warmer places, just be ready for it. And then wealth wise, obviously everybody get a job, get paid, working on the brand, working on putting up content for you guys, and just growing the community as a whole. So that, and then love is just friends, family, just working on that, working on having better relationships, being better about like, oh, it's somebody's birthday, send them happy birthday. Oh, you haven't talked to your friend in a while, shoot him a text, be like, yo, I was thinking about you. Or link up with somebody you haven't talked to in a while. I think that's super important. And something I took for granted, I get in these, I don't want to say waves, but I get in these patterns of where it'll just be like, I'll have my core friend group. And it's tough whenever you're not moving around, whenever you're in the same spot for a while. It's a lot easier, I think, in college, or I guess college would be the easiest, but whenever you have kind of friends at home or you have friends at school and you kind of bounce around, you have friends from class, you have friends from school, you have friends from your real home, or if you're a couple states away, and just you have those different friend groups that you kind of link up with every couple months. And whenever you get out of college, you're stuck in that one spot for the most part, and wherever you're working or wherever you're living. And so you get stuck in that same group, and you can kind of forget about those people that aren't really directly in your life. And most of the time, or actually I'd say all the time, that I text somebody or somebody texts me that I haven't talked to in a while that's a really good friend, we pick up right where we left off. It's like I saw him 20 minutes ago. And I love that. And I love building relationships like that, where I can just text somebody that I haven't talked to in 8 months or haven't seen in a year. And it's just like no time has passed. And I think that's a good test of having good friends and good connections, and actually being on that level with somebody. And so seeing that, I love when that happens. And so that's another thing I've been working on with these goals, because I don't want it to be only monetary. I don't want it to be only me getting in better shape. I want it to be affect the people around me and help people out. And I really do get a lot of joy out of that. And I don't know if it's pre-programmed, or I don't know if it's just how I've been around people, but I always took that, like the whole connecting with people thing. I love people, and I've known that. And I think a lot of people that know me know that I can't go barely any time without being with people, being surrounded by people, and just having that energy, because it is what I live off of. And interacting with people is seriously what powers just who I am. But having that idea of like connection and things like that, and talking about it verbally, was always super weird and always felt super weak to me, which I think is the complete opposite. It was a ego trip. It was a weakness of mine to be like, oh, I don't connect with people. Oh, you care, feelings, stuff like that. It was just an insecurity. It was a weakness of mine to think that was a show of anything bad at all. It's awesome to connect with people. It's awesome to have real friends, rather than 15,000 friends on Facebook, which I remember used to be the most important thing in the world to me. And I had no friends in real life. I was just an absolute ass. I didn't do much. I just complained and was lazy. And it shows you what kind of that superficial number, that superficial feeling that you're chasing, as opposed to having 3 or 4 or 5 great friends that would ride or die for you. It's astonishing how different that is. And so that's kind of been the last leg of the diamond, so to say, is having that relationship with your friends and family, and just family specifically, because I know spending a lot of time with family now, and it's easy to take that for granted. As soon as things get moving, as soon as I live somewhere else, then it's going to be like, well, wow, I haven't seen my family in 6 months. Wow, I haven't been back since Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever it is. And just realizing that you're gonna wish for those times. You're gonna wish for that time back. You're gonna wish for those times of like I said, just family, just getting the family together. It's always a nightmare. I don't know about anybody else, but there's always really high highs and really low lows when it comes to family hanging out or holidays. There's always a bunch of stress. There's always problems that shouldn't even exist. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's your family. That's what you got to put up with the bullshit. That's just kind of how it is. And so focusing on that and kind of reeling it back, went off on a little bit of a rant there, but trying to get that escapism out, trying to get that escapism of, okay, like I said, I love watching YouTube videos. I'm a very visual person. I love YouTube videos. I love movies. I love TV shows. I just love them. I love getting involved in that world. And it's an escape. It's an escape from reality for a lot of people, including myself. And so understanding that that's good at times, but it can take away from your growth process. It can take away from your actual time on this earth. And so getting sucked up into those worlds is really not a good thing for long spans of time. And it can get in the way of work. And I was listening to Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights. If you haven't read it or listened to it yet, I am about 3/4 of the way through. And I recommend the audiobook because Matthew McConaughey actually reads it and he does all the voices and all the characters, and it's hilarious. And it's classic Matthew McConaughey. It's exactly what you think it would be. If you just picture him sitting down and reading an autobiography about all the crazy stories he has as just being a wild man, it's exactly that. Whatever you're picturing in your head, that's exactly what it is. And he was talking about this concept of after his first movie, or maybe his first couple movies, he was like dying to get back to LA, or get back to LA and Hollywood. And he was like, okay, I need a job. And his mentor said, you got to remember, you got to want Hollywood, not need Hollywood. And I don't know why that line stuck out, but I paused the audiobook while I was driving home because I was like, okay, I need to write that down. And it was just this concept of, yes, you can want something. Yes, you can desire something, but you also got to realize that if it goes at any point, you got to be good with it. You got to be, okay, this is fine. This happens. And you can't show that need to, like I say, that need to have it. And so that, I don't know why, like I said, I don't know why it really got to me, but the concept of, okay, you want something so bad, you grip it so tightly, then it's just going to pull harder away from you. But if you really just step back and you really just say, okay, if it stays, it stays. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Just having that's when all the good comes to you. That's whenever everything starts working out. It's just kind of when you go with the flow of the energy and letting it come to you, in a sense, putting in the work, but letting it come to you at the last final stages. It stuck out to me. And especially it was literal to me because I do want to move to Los Angeles. I want to move to Hollywood. I want to be in that space. I want to be in that line of work. And not necessarily acting, but I want to be in the similar line of work. And so as the literal sense of you got to want it, not need it, is something that stuck out to me, especially whenever I'm looking behind the camera. And behind the camera, I have this tapestry of the skyline of Los Angeles. Granted, it's the worst photo of all time. Half of it is the slums and palm trees, but the middle part is the skyline of Los Angeles. And so having that kind of as a reminder of where you're headed and where you want to go is super important, but also understanding that things come in time and you have to allow it to happen. You have to be prepared, and you have to let timing and opportunity link up, and then you'll get what you want. And so that was something that really stuck with me. I don't know if it was just me, but that idea of knowing that you want it, but just not putting all your eggs in one basket. Scratch that. That's not what I mean. It's wanting something, but knowing that the harder you pull for it, harder it can pull back. And so you just got to put yourself in alignment to where you allow it into your life, I guess is the best way to put it. And then another thing I actually just saw right before I hit record on this podcast was I was watching this TikTok, and it was of Nipsey Hussle, who passed away either in early last year or I think 2019. I can't quite remember, but he was shot and killed, unfortunately, outside, I believe, one of his stores. And it was him in an interview, and they're all around the mics, and he was just saying, he was talking about, and I don't think a lot of people that are super successful, especially in, I guess, the rap or music industry, I've said stuff like this. Some businessmen, some motivational speakers have talked about it, but seeing him in that stage of talking about his struggle and talking about how even him, who's very successful, done a lot for himself as a recording artist, as a businessman, and just for his community, when he talks about getting overwhelmed and feeling overwhelmed, he was like, that feeling doesn't go away. It doesn't matter if you're overwhelmed trying to get into college. It doesn't matter if you're overwhelmed trying to buy a mansion. It's all the same stuff. And he was saying that you just got to sit back and be like, that's how it's supposed to be. It feels like a lot because it is a lot, because you're doing a lot, because you're working for a lot of stuff. And so it feels like a lot because that's what you signed up for. That's what it's supposed to be. It's a lot. And you need to know that comes with the territory, and that's okay. It's going to feel like you're getting crushed by all these things. This is going wrong. This is going right. This is going wrong. This is going wrong. This is going right. It's going to feel like all that stuff is crushing you, and that your mind is just taken up all the time. And that's the point. If you want a bunch of great things, if you want a lot of stuff, you gotta be able to know that comes with the territory. And hearing him say it like that kind of put it into perspective for me. And that's always what I'm focusing on, because I think quotes for me, some of them stick forever, but a lot of them you'll hear them and then you'll kind of soften up on the like the staying effect, and it'll be okay. Well, yeah, I get it, but and then you hear another point of view and you hear somebody else say it a different way, and you're like, okay, it gives it that vigor back. That's like, now I know what I need to do. Now I know it's okay to be overwhelmed, to be frustrated, to think, oh, I'm not getting a lot of stuff done. Whenever you're busting out a lot. And like I said, it's just, that's supposed to come with the territory. And I've never heard anyone in his position say it like that. And so I thought that was something good to pass on. That's why I wanted to put it on to the podcast, just because it is supposed to feel overwhelming. If you're doing a lot and it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere, it's supposed to feel overwhelming. It's supposed to be hard. Because if it wasn't hard, everybody would do it. And I know that cliche has been played out a million times, but you're supposed to be overwhelmed because you're going for a lot. And that's just what comes with the territory. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I know I enjoyed making it. If you could subscribe, if you're watching the YouTube video, leave a like. If you're on Spotify, if you could follow or leave a review on Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, I'd really appreciate it. It helps me a lot more than you know. It helps with everything. It helps it be seen. It helps it whenever you search it up. So it actually pops up when people search it. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for listening. I will be back next Wednesday for another episode. I've been your host, Jack Hummell. At Jack Hummell on YouTube and Instagram. Those are the big two, and Twitter, getting more involved in the Twitter game. And if you're watching the YouTube video, this is some new apparel that's coming out. I am working on the website, getting all that kind of battened down. I just finished most of the designs today, so that's super exciting. And if you didn't know, we do kind of an after hours segment on the YouTube video. So I keep it open from anywhere from a minute to 5 minutes after the podcast to get a little more exclusive content. So if you haven't checked that out, Jack Hummell just on YouTube and you'll find it. It's under the Idols to Rivals playlist. Appreciate you guys for listening. You have a good one, and get after it. Remember, attack everything. All right. So, yeah, like I was saying, it's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be difficult. I got 8 tabs open on 2 different monitors. That's why I keep switching my eyes back and forth. If you were watching the video, I didn't really look at the camera that much this time because I was kind of in the zone. But yeah, it's supposed to be hard. All this stuff's supposed to be hard. It feels like kind of running in place, but eventually you'll get your traction and things will take off. Like I said, we're almost 40 episodes into this podcast. I absolutely love it. And 16 episodes into the vlog, and those are just getting more and more regular, which I'm super pumped about because I finally getting comfortable with this bad boy. And yeah, so just getting used to understanding that the process is supposed to be hard. If it wasn't, everybody would do it. I hope you guys like. I think the camera angle is a little bit different this time. I just clicked the video. Normally I have the video on this monitor right here where it's like looking down, and I always like look at myself to make sure I'm in frame. But this time I had it completely closed, so I don't even know. But yeah, it's supposed to be hard. That's the end goal, and yeah. So I appreciate you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys on the next one.